Hi, I'm Corey, or Everything Fancy, and we're back with some more analysis. We're sticking with the Limbus Company theme for now, despite the fact that I got many comments last time about my pronunciation of certain things and not having the subtitles enabled. Noted, and it will change from now on. This time, we're doing a popular request. It's the Canto VII Boss Battle 1 theme. I've heard a boss battle theme from Canto before, not this particular one. You might have seen arrangements on the channel which cross over certain Limbus and Library of Ruina tracks, but I'm interested in hearing more of the Limbus Company OST. So, without further ado, let's have a listen to the Canto VII boss battle theme. So, genre-wise, it seems like we're looking like electro swing. We have the tape saturation, which is the kind of muffly distorted sound. We have filter automation, which is where you take away certain frequencies from a sound. In this case, some of the low end and the high end are taken away from the vocals we hear in the background. Just in case, I don't suspect there's going to be vocals in this, but I'm putting subtitles on just to be sure. Okay, so key signature wise, we are in F minor. We know that because the bass starts on that F. I heard some melodic notes as well, also reflecting that key. A lot of really interesting elements so far. I love that switch up from the very kind of almost carefree intro to what was a very impactful, almost like extended intro in a way. That kind of shift to the very aggressive, we hear the bass drop, the drum machine comes in. I suspect it's going to be a little bit more upbeat from here. Okay, I think I was wrong about electro swing. We've got full-on electronic, almost dubstep in nature. This is really interesting. Again, as somebody who has only played Library of Ruina from the trilogy, and only kind of a tiny bit of Lobo Corp, but not much at all, I'm very used to a particular sound from the projectmoon OSTs. I'm not used to this, so this is really interesting so far. Oh, okay, we've gone back to the kind of more electro swing. This is such a kind of like, the contrasts are incredible here. I'm confused on some level as to what I should even be feeling listening to this. I have some images in my head of what I would expect the boss to actually be like, in a sense. I mean, I'm looking at the background. I don't know if that is the setting, perhaps, because I'm picturing this as being quite theatrical so far. I mean, we have that clearly from the instrumental alone. We have very impactful synths with drum machine, heavy percussion on the one hand, and also the more swingy kind of background vocals happening as well at the same time. We almost have a cabaret type sound going on at the moment, so it sounded something like this. Okay, just before we enter this section, there's a lot of interesting brass patterns going on here. We have brass doing these kind of extended articulations, sort of like the duh sort of sound. The shakes is what they're calling the trumpet. Interesting melodic lines like this. Again, introducing some of that chromaticism that we come to expect from a lot of projectmoon tracks. That helps to create that feeling of discomfort almost. Because a lot of these tracks that we've listened to so far and reacted to have had a similar pattern of starting up, presenting our expectations as being one thing, and then taking us in a complete 180, a completely different direction, and we're seeing exactly the same thing here. I would suspect, because we're only a minute into this, that we're going to have a couple extra sections where we maybe even get the genre change again, things completely change up. At this point, all I know is to expect the unexpected. This is almost striking me as that last time I talked about a kind of melodramatic section in a lot of Project Moon tracks. I'm getting a very similar thing to that. Usually they happen later on in the piece of music, but this time we have the kind of... Interestingly, the bass line is playing the exact same notes as the melodic line from the trumpets that I mentioned earlier. The trumpets were doing their... And now we have the bass doing... It's quite an interesting musical mode that's being used here. I can't pinpoint exactly which one, but we're not playing with a standard F minor scale at this point. I've identified it. So, the interesting thing is that F minor contains these notes: F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F. But we don't typically hear the E flat in this. Instead, we hear an E, which creates a F minor harmonic scale, which sounds like this. Instead of the flat E, we have an E natural. It creates this... I don't know, I always kind of see it as a bit Arabian almost, like they're sort of dancing in the desert kind of thing. It does create this sort of uncomfortable feeling with the music as well at the same time. Not having the kind of the expected E flat to F, but instead the E to F. Thanks for those subtitles there. He never would have figured that one out. Not much to analyze from those particular lyrics this time. But I just love the whole build-up. Like, I think so many of Project Moon OSTs are go big or go home on some level. We have absolutely enormous percussion. It's really doing the electronic genre a lot of justice, I feel. Whilst also still kind of preserving that very melodic touch that we have come to expect from Project Moon tracks. Side note, obviously the thing that's up and completely in our face is the electronics, so the drum machine and the synths in this case. But I also kind of want to bring to the attention the vocals as well. The amount of kind of subtle effects that are being done to the vocals, whether it's pitch shifting, we heard pitch shifting with the pitch being shifted lower, and also instances of pitch going up as well. Just really kind of interesting touches that are helping to make this sound just not like a generic electronic track, but instead something that is so tied to the Limbus company identity and the Project Moon identity as a whole. Okay. I was going to try and predict what's going to happen next. I think I may have heard a tiny bit of what actually ends up happening, but I think we hear a repeat of that opening section again, where we just hear the vocals and a sort of very light electro swing accompaniment alongside it. But this time, instead of... I recall at the beginning we heard the the female vocals, the kind of higher pitched vocals happening if I go back to the beginning. And this time, I think it's pitch shifted. It is, it's pitch shifted down. And we got the horns introduced again as well. Yet more reasons as to why I really need to just play this game. I'm so curious about this. Please, in the comments, give me some, if you can, non-spoilery context here. That would be very, very much helpful. And also very motivating as well as a way of getting me to play this, because I want to know the context really badly. Because when I got sent the link for Boss Battle 1, I kind of expected... I'm not sure what I expected. Something more akin to what I'm familiar with from Library of Ruina, perhaps? The musical style is so diverse from all the tracks we've heard so far. So there's this, we've heard La Mancha, which I guess has some similarities, but not much, because we go for a completely different genre of samba in that instance. I've also had a look at other tracks as well, like through Patches of Violet 2. The genre changes are immense in this game. You know what this reminds me of? I can't remember the name of the track. Someone in the comments remind me. It's that unused track in Library of Ruina. I forgot the name of it. It's almost quite circusy in nature. I've forgotten the name, but it reminds me so much of that. It almost reminds me of that track. Taken to a whole nother level. In fact, I'm so curious, I want to try and find it. I think I found it. This is it, this is the one, this is it. So many similarities. So let's identify the similarities in instruments. So we have a drum machine, we have that bass drum, and we have the snare drum, the clap in this case. Horns are consistent as well. A lot of horns, which is exactly what we heard in the boss battle from Canto VII. As well as that, the entire kind of arrangement, the swing nature of it, the electro swing kind of style of it, exactly the same. Almost as if the Canto version, or the Canto VII boss battle theme, is like that times 10. It's this times 10 in so many ways. So interesting. And I think we hear there the loop point, most likely. I love, it's a bit of a tiny thing, but as someone that plays brass instruments, I love the brass fall at the end. A fall is simple as there. I love it when brass instruments do that, especially in a way that's not cringy as well. The whole kind of get-up, the way this is put together works so well. I'm almost just even more curious now as to the context, especially. I say this in all the reactions videos, but it just is a demonstration of how well the musicians from Studio I'm working on the OST do such a good job of just getting it, in a sense. And I say that mostly through my experiences playing Library of Ruina, where listening to so much of the music, the thing I felt consistently throughout was just, well, they just really get it. They get what they're supposed to make the players feel. And I suspect this is, even without context of playing the boss battle, I suspect it's absolutely no different. I have a picture in my mind of what the boss could probably look like, unless it's maybe a generic boss theme for multiple bosses, but I don't feel like that's the case. Obviously I'm picturing like a clown, but it could literally be anything at this stage. But thanks for the suggestion, for the many of you that suggested this. If there are any other suggestions, please do let me know. Until the next time, thanks for listening, and take care.